Y'all, Tiffany Henyard just hit rock bottom, and she just came out to admit that she's broke as F. Not just that, but she's begging us regular folks for money to continue her lavish lifestyle. So it looks like she's gone from throwing money around like it's nothing to straight up begging on GoFundMe. Y'all, we're talking about a woman who spent $199,000 on welcome banners, and now she can't even pay the bill. How messy is this? She used to live like a queen on taxpayer money. We're talking fancy trips, whole $1 million security team following her around. But that's not all, because it turns out that she also personally allegedly borrowed millions of dollars put in city infrastructures down as collateral. Y'all, this situation is hot. The tea is coming in like a flood because the creditors are suing Tiffany to get their money back. And it's not looking good for Ms. Henyard or the good people of Dalton. It's a hot mess, and we're just getting started now. Before we get into Tiffany's debts, let's talk about how Tiffany turned taxpayer money into her personal piggy bank. And what if I told you she spent more on welcome banners than some folks in Dalton make in a whole year? Y'all, this is next level crazy. We're talking about a woman who acted like she had a blank check from the city. Y'all, she was not afraid to use it. So let's break it down. Tiffany dropped $99,000 on a welcome banner, $119,000 on banners with her face plastered all over them. Meanwhile, the average household in Dalton is scraping by on less than $30,000 a year. Talk about being out of touch. Y'all, she needed to go out and touch some grass and feel how expensive it had gotten. But wait, y'all, it gets worse. While Tiffany was living it up, the town of Dalton was sinking deeper and deeper into debt. We're talking about a place where the fire department hasn't had a contract for a whole 5 years. The people risking their lives to save others can't even get a proper contract. But Miss Thing is over here spending thousands of welcome signs. And let's not forget about her little trips to Vegas while Dalton residents were struggling to make ends meet. Tiffany was allegedly living it up in Sin City. But that's not even the worst of it. She had a whole security detail following her around, costing the village hundreds of thousands of dollars each year. And some of these officers were making over $133,000 in a single pay period. Just because of overtime, that's more than some people in Dalton making 3 or 4 years. It's like she forgot she was running a town and thought she was some type of celebrity. But here's the thing, celebrities use their own money, Tiffany. She was using taxpayer dollars, though, and now the town can't even pay for his bills. The company that made most those fancy welcome banners, well, they're still waiting on their money, and they're not the only ones. But Tiffany didn't stop at just spending public money. Oh no, she went and took all personal loans too. We're talking millions of dollars here, and now she can't pay it back. It's like she thought the money would never run out. But y'all, it always does. It looks like she's in some big trouble, they're saying. Tiffany was living large, and the rest of Dalton was falling apart because the police department's vehicles are at risk of being repossessed because the town can't pay its debt. Can you imagine calling 911 and finding out there's no car to come help you, but they done roll their buggies or horse and carriage or got a Uber down in your house? That's the reality Dalton is facing, all because Tiffany couldn't keep her spending in check, allegedly. Y'all, if you thought that Tiffany's spending was wild, wait till you hear about her side hustle. This woman found a way to turn moldy walls into cold, hard cash. How long can a mayor go? Tiffany Henyard wasn't just blowing through taxpayer money like it was nothing. No, she was out here pulling some crazy scams too, allegedly. We're talking about Section 8 housing, y'all. You know, the program that's supposed to help low-income people get decent housing. Well, your girl Tiffany allegedly saw dollar signs and decided to cash in. But here's the tea. Tiffany owned this property, right? And she was getting these sweet Section 8 subsidies from the government. But here's the kicker. This place was a straight-up mess. We're talking about severe mold, water damage, whole nine. But did Tiffany care? Allegedly, didn't she just kept collecting those checks like everything was fine and dandy. By November 2019, the place was so bad it was declared uninhabitable. And you would think that would be the end of it, right? Wrong again. Tiffany allegedly kept on cashing no Section 8 payments without fixing a thing. Now, you might be wondering if she did this, how did she get away with it? Well, turns out that there's this thing called inspections. So let me tell you, the inspection history on Tiffany's property is shadier than a palm tree on a beach. It's like she thought she could just ignore all the problems and keep raking in the cash. But here's where it gets real messy. While Tiffany was busy playing slumlord, the folks living in her rental property were suffering. We're talking about people who already don't have much living in conditions that would make your skin crawl and all the. While Tiffany's pocketing government money that's meant to ensure these people have a decent place to live. It's just sad and wrong. This isn't just about one moldy apartment, y'all. It's a part of a bigger picture of Tiffany's whole deal as mayor. We're talking financial mismanagement, corruption allegations, the works. It's like every time you turn over a rock in Dalton, you find another Tiffany Henyard scandal crawling out. But you know what's really got people fired up? It's the fact that Tiffany seems to think she's above it all. She's out here living large, spending taxpayer money on fancy trips and welcome banners, while her own tenants are dealing with leaky ceilings and mold. It's like she forgot she's supposed to be serving the people, not herself. Now you might be wondering what's going to happen with Tiffany, but let me tell you, when you mess with the government's money like that, it usually doesn't end well. We're talking potential legal consequences, investigations, all of that. And with all the other stuff Tiffany's got going on, this Section 8 scandal could be the thing that finally brings her down. But here's the real kicker. While all this was going down, Tiffany was still out here acting like everything was fine. She was still playing mayor, still making decisions for Dalton, all while this Section 8 mess was brewing in the background. It's like she thought she could just sweep it under the rug, and no one would notice. But it didn't take long for the FBI to get involved. They're digging deep into her finances, and what they're finding is not pretty. How? Long before this house of cards comes tumbling down, because it's getting real messy for Tiffany Henyard. The FBI is not playing around. They've launched a full-blown criminal investigation into her financial dealings. It's just a huge fall from grace. Tiffany going from living large to being under the microscope of the feds. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Though the FBI isn't just taking a quick pick at Tiffany's bank statements. No, they're going all in. They've issued subpoenas for her personal transactions and the financial activities of the whole township. That's right, they're leaving Nosetown unturned. It's like they're on a mission to uncover every penny Tiffany's ever touched. And what they're finding is juicy. All turns out Tiffany wasn't just splurging on some welcome banners in Vegas trips. The investigation is revealing that she allegedly used taxpayer money for all sorts of other personal benefits. We're talking about extravagant trips and the security detail that will make any celebrity jealous. It's like they thought being a mayor meant having a blank check to live like a queen. But here's where it gets really interesting. You know who they brought in to oversee this whole investigation, right? Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. That's right. They've called in the big guns, and Lori isn't messing around. She's uncovering financial mismanagement left and right under Henyard's administration. It's like every time they open a drawer, some more skeletons come popping out. Well, Halloween is on its way. Break out all the skeletons. Now, y'all might be wondering how Tiffany's holding up with all this heat. But let me tell you, her public image is taking a beating. Because the people of Dalton are not happy. They're calling for accountability, demanding answers. It's like the whole town has turned against her. But can you blame them? They trusted her to lead. And instead, she's been leading them right into a financial disaster. But that's not just the regular folks who were speaking up. Local business owners and former employees are spilling to the FBI. They're confirming that they've been interviewed about Tiffany's alleged misconduct. It's like everybody's lining up to share what they know. And honey, you know they know a whole bunch. The FBI isn't playing around either. They're using electronic surveillance as part of their investigation. That's how serious this is. They're watching Tiffany's ever move, probably hoping she'll slip up and reveal even more. But this is getting even deeper. Tiffany's trying to save her own skin. She's pointing fingers at her former chief, Keith Freeman. She says she's relied on him for financial decisions. It's like she's trying to say it wasn't me, it was him. But Tiffany, when you're the mayor, the buck stops with you. You can't just pass the blame and hope it all goes away. But speaking of passing the buck, it seems Tiffany's taking the strategy to a whole new level. Instead of facing the music, she straight up disappeared. And what's happening in Dalton without its a whole mess. Tiffany has gone and pulled a vanishing act that would make David Copperfield jealous.